Hi guys, welcome to Small Farmer Life. Hope you're all having an awesome day. It's really bright outside. I've been building a bog filter for my small pond. I want to build another one, I think, for the large pond, so really excited about that. But hopefully, you're all having a great day too. And today, guys, we're going to talk about the differences between the US planning system and the UK planning system, because I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel from the US, around about 35% you guys, so if I get something wrong in this video or make a mistake, please correct me in the comment section. If you haven't been to the channel before and you want to start a small holding, maybe you want to start off with a lifestyle or maybe some other form of rural enterprise, then think about hitting the subscribe button. Go back, check out some of the videos I've already uploaded to the channel. You'll find some useful information in those videos. And also, if you like the video at the end of the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the bell button. Now, I've been to America and it wasn't like a normal holiday. I basically said to my pal one day before we went, "You fancy going to America?" We booked the tickets that day. We landed in Newark Airport in New York and we flew on, I think it was United Airlines, from Newark Airport to Los Angeles. And it was 1 month before 9/11. Honestly, guys, so we could have got unlucky and got a different flight. And, well, bad day for everybody, wasn't it? But, yeah, I did travel around America, travelled all the way up the West Coast. It was absolutely amazing. We went to California, went to Santa Monica, went to Malibu. We drove absolutely everywhere. Went looking for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's house. We drove into the Beverly Hills Hotel. We hired a 5-litre Ford Mustang convertible to drive around America in. It was absolutely amazing. And once we finished the West Coast, we headed inland to Las Vegas. And that's where we finished off our holiday. But anyway, guys, let's talk about the differences between the planning laws in America and the planning laws in the UK. Because for all smallholders out there in the UK, you find it really hard to get any form of permission, especially if it's to live on site. And you have to jump through so many hoops. Now, in the US, they have what is called a zoning planning system. They have like light commercial, they'll have industrial, light industrial, they'll have zoning for schools, they'll have zoning for housing, they'll have zones for multi-storey housing, that sort of thing, tower blocks. And also they have an agricultural zoning system. But in the UK, we don't have them types of zones. Now, they are trying to get some sort of zoning approach passed through the white paper, which is also going to take away the 4-year and 1 day rule through Parliament, but it hasn't got through yet. And in our country, it's what's known as a discretionary planning system. So local councils are supposed to follow national policy guidelines and framework. Now, each and every council around the UK has their own say in what gets built and what doesn't, because they don't seem to want to follow all the rules in that national plan policy framework. That's why so many appeals win, because councils make up their own mind on what they want to grant planning permission to and what they don't want to grant planning permission to. And this is really shocking when you think that just because somebody might not like you, it's at their discretion to refuse your planning application. Now, does this happen? They'll say no, but I know it probably does happen. But there's lots of other differences as well to the planning systems in the US versus the UK, especially when it comes to getting the right to live on your agricultural land. So in the US, they have rural zoning. So what this does is it gives families the ability to homestead in rural areas of America. Now, you might be saying, well, there's loads of land in America. They'll obviously have lots of places where people can start homesteads. Well, do you think everybody is living out in the sticks in America? I don't think so. They want to be connected to utilities also. So it's not like that, as you might think. It might be just outside city boundaries or something like that, or outside a large town. You don't know because you're not there. And this is why there's a lot of YouTube channels, I think, on homesteading in America. Now, they can put in a planning application, or I think it's a planning application, or they just have to pass building regulations and be in the right zoned area, and planning in principle is already passed the system. So as long as they follow building regulations, as long as they have a good plan and they put it into the local municipal council, then you should have no problems living on that land, unless it's got some other restrictions or something like that. But they do have a way that you can homestead for just you and your family to grow vegetables, raise animals, as just a personal thing, a hobby, whatever you want to call it. But there's no planning law in the UK of such. So in the UK, if you wanted to do exactly the same as that, you would have to start a business, because there's no such thing as starting a smallholding in the UK unless you can afford to buy a house in the countryside that already has land with it, and then you can start your smallholding that way. But that house is going to cost a fortune, because the rich have bought up most of the houses in the countryside as second homes. Now, what the majority of the people do is they'll find a piece of land, they'll fix that land up, they'll get it ready, and then they'll move on to that land, and then they'll start the business that way. This is 99% of the people who live on agricultural land. This is the way they do it. There's other people that do it in different ways, but those are normally people with a lot of money, and they've already got a good farming business set up. Maybe the family are farming and they want to go off on their own, maybe raise cattle or something like that, whatever it might be, and they've got enough money to build a lot of barns, show that their business is profitable and everything else, so they'll get a house, no problem. It can be in Greenbelt, it can be in an area of outstanding natural beauty, it doesn't really matter. If they've got money, they can pay for the planning consultants and the lawyers and everything to get that passed. The rest of us have to jump through so many hoops. So once we've moved onto the land, we've got to put in a planning application to stay on that land temporarily. We've got to put in a business plan with that plan application. We've got to make sure that the planning application's got an awesome planning statement to go with it, showing that there's a functional need to actually be on the land 24/7, 365, because if you don't have that need, it'll just get kicked straight out. And then you get 3 years to make a profit. In some cases, you might get 5 years. So you get 3 years to turn a profit in one of those years. And it has to be around about the average wage of a rural worker, which is around about 18 grand. Now, to start a business from scratch, especially a farming business, and go to 18 grand wages, now, only one person in the family has to make £18,000 to actually be able to build a rural worker's dwelling. But even after you've jumped through all the hoops, you've proved to them that the business is viable and it's going to be viable going forward, it's still going to be hard to get planning permission passed. And then they're still going to stick what I talked about in the last video on the property, and that's a rural worker's tie. Now you can watch that video at the end of this video, because we've got a lot more to talk about in this video. But that's what we have to do in the UK: start a business on some land, make sure that it's profitable in 3 years, show our business plan. We get no help from the government whatsoever, and we have to live in a temporary accommodation, whether that be a cabin or a caravan, whatever it might be. Versus in America, because they've got a zoning planning system and agricultural land is zoned as agricultural, they can actually start a homestead without having to start no business whatsoever. So they don't have to jump through any of the hoops like we do. Now, when I say this is what they're trying to do in the UK, get this zoning system passed through House of Parliament, the normal people are fighting back about it. The countryside folk and the people who already live in the country, because they're going to say it's going to open the floodgates to the developers and that sort of thing. I don't think that'll happen. I think that's already happening right now. The developers get to build as many houses as they want, and they've already got planning permission for 500,000 houses, and they're not building them. So what makes them think that they're going to want to build any more? Now, what they will probably want to build is luxury dwellings, mansions in the countryside, and that shouldn't be allowed. It should be for everybody, and that's how the American zoning system works for them. Now, bringing this zoning system in the UK, what they're trying to say is they want it more like other European countries and the US, where in the US, the communities themselves, the municipal councils, not the state itself, but the actual towns, make the decisions on what can be built in that town. And they're saying that's what they want to do in the UK. They want to let councils and planning departments make up the decisions and involve the community more in what gets built in the local area. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, you should subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to be notified of more upcoming videos, hit the bell button. My name's Craig. You've been watching A Small Farmer Life. Thanks again to all my parents. Couldn't thank you guys enough. And YouTube members, really appreciate the support. Till next time, guys, make sure you take care of yourself. Most of all, take care of the family. Be genuine, guys. Bye for now. See ya.